you, man.
I saved your life.
I ain't for none.
I saved your life.
I don't trust you, man. Leave.
I was standing by the phones, and then that guy, I don't know him. I don't know where he came from. I don't know who he is. He got off the table and took his shirt off. I mean, unbuttoned his jumpsuit and stepped to me and just got in like fighting position. I didn't know if I thought he was playing. I didn't know if he was for real or what. I don't know him. I never seen him before. And then he got real close. And then he swung, and then the fight occurred.
The man in that jail interview is Kwame Wilson, better known as Young QC. At first, the clip looks like just another prison altercation, but the reason he ended up behind bars points back to a decision in 2012 so cold that years later, a judge would struggle to describe it. This was not a random killing. It was not a street ambush. And once investigators started pulling phone records, bank activity, and surveillance footage, the story became almost impossible to believe. But before this story goes anywhere near Kwame Wilson and his rap ambitions, it has to start with Yolanda Holmes, because she is the person this case is actually about. She is the one who tends to get buried under all the more sensational details whenever the story circulates online. Yolanda Holmes grew up in Chicago and built her life the hard way. She became the owner of Nappy Heads, a popular hair salon in Chicago's Uptown neighborhood, and she ran it successfully while raising her son entirely on her own. Kwame's father, Jeffrey Todd Wilson, had been out of the picture since the 1990s, a reputed West Side gang leader who was serving a life sentence at Stateville Correctional Center for a killing tied to a drug den dispute. He burned down a building because a dealer refused to pay a street tax, and 2 people died in that fire. So Yolanda raised her son without him, and she made a deliberate decision that her child would never walk that same road. She made sure Kwame had what he wanted: clothes, shoes, jewelry, even a Mustang, while also building a reputation in her neighborhood as a generous and deeply respected mother. The people who knew her described her as having a big heart, someone who gave back regularly and cared deeply about the kids around her. She was not a perfect person, no one is, but she was a good mother who built something real and tried to use it to protect the child she had brought into the world alone. That is who Yolanda Holmes was. Keep that in mind as this story unfolds, because it matters more than anything else in it. Kwame Wilson was born on December 3rd, 1989, and grew up as Yolanda's only child.
Young QC repping Heat Squad. About to do this video to Omarion Watt. Like, subscribe, share your Facebook. Yeah, all that.
Can I look your body down? Do you like it like this? Can I push it right there? Can I look your body down? Can I push it right there? Do you like it like this shit? I'm gonna take my time. You should know that before we start. I hope that you're ready, girl, 'cause it's time for you to get punched.
He wanted fame. Under the name Young QC, he released local tracks, posted YouTube content, and tried to build a persona online. But the image was growing faster than any real career behind it.
Spring, just tell me why you said something like that to me.
You remember Nicole, right?
Yeah, what about her?
You remember you paid her to get her abortion because you didn't want Flip to find out that you got his baby mama pregnant. You remember when you and your best friend, Flip, got robbed, but you was the only one who got pistol whipped? Why you didn't get shot that night? You was laying in a puddle of blood. Why you didn't get shot?
Spring, how you know this stuff?
Answer the question, Nick. Why didn't you get shot that night?
I don't know!
Because Flip got scared. You was laying in a puddle of blood, so he told him not to shoot you. You got his everything pregnant. You, his best friend, broke his heart.
He had no major label interest, no significant chart presence, and no real commercial traction, but he had the appetite for the lifestyle that came with that image. His mother's generosity had given him a version of it. The problem, as prosecutors would later frame it at trial, was that what Yolanda could give him through her salon income and her savings felt like it was shrinking relative to what he wanted. Accustomed to being given things, he never really learned how to build anything on his own.
I'm QC, I'm ballin', and I'm rich, hold up. Doors on the car, go up. See a bad bitch like skirt, hold up. Take her to my home, kiss her on her neck. Get her out her thong, but not until she's I know she will.
And when his music career did not take off the way he imagined, and the money from his mother stopped stretching as far as it once had, he started thinking about what he stood to inherit. He was her sole beneficiary. The life insurance policies, the bank accounts, the business, all of it would come to him eventually. The question he appears to have asked himself was why he should have to wait.
Yeah, man. About to go get this $1,000 out for the fans, man. Really, I'm gonna take out 20,000, man. Just to show people, you feel me? I'm on a whole different level with this, man. I take this serious, man. So you can't put me in the same category as the others.
This that y'all want it. This cook up hard, don't it? Y'all gotta beg my pardon on it. But this sound like God, don't it? Yeah. I'm tired. And y'all got to pay y'all taxes. Call my family the whole nigga. Church on Cromwell ties. Pop tags when I'm paranoid. Cause a pawn shop was my paradise. I was dead blocked when the powder came for that. Now I'm feeling that shoot box. Blue ray and these black diamonds like boom dots. I restored a feeling. The window goods made a kid. Hiding shoppers in the closet. $500,000 in the ceiling. And
That video was not made in private. It was posted publicly while narrating his own spending spree as if it were a music video. He knew people were watching, and that was exactly the point. He wanted the clout that came with looking rich.
You feel me, man? I don't play no games. You feel me? I don't play no games, man. I do this for real, bro. I don't got no problem with giving back, man. I'm the only one out here with a show that's actually giving back, you feel me? And I got proof to show it, you feel me? Shout out to this fan I'm finna go slide on, man. I'm finna take care of you.
In the months before September 2012, Wilson recruited his acquaintance Eugene Spencer to carry out the killing. Spencer was not a professional. He was someone Wilson knew well enough to trust with the worst thing he was planning. Wilson arranged a firearm through his then-girlfriend, Loriana Johnson, who wiped it down before handing it over. He gave Spencer the access code to his mother's apartment building at 1026 West Montrose Avenue in Uptown. He provided Spencer with clothes to wear as a disguise, and on the night the plan was set in motion, he called his mother 40 minutes beforehand and told her he was coming over, so that when the door opened, she would expect someone she trusted. Spencer entered the apartment at around 4:30 in the morning on September 2, 2012. Yolanda Holmes was asleep in bed with her boyfriend, Curtis Wyatt. Spencer shot Yolanda multiple times, and when the gun jammed, he stabbed her repeatedly with a kitchen knife that broke during the attack. Curtis Wyatt woke up and fought back, but after being shot at, beaten, and strangled, he was left injured while Spencer fled. Wyatt survived. Yolanda Holmes did not. According to trial testimony and phone record evidence, Wilson was in contact with Spencer during the attack and urged him to make sure Yolanda Holmes was dead. When Spencer called to say the job was done, Wilson reportedly told him to go back and make certain. Spencer went back and stabbed her again. Loriana Johnson was waiting outside and drove the getaway. Prosecutors argued and the jury accepted that Wilson planned the killing, supplied key access and logistical details, and helped set the attack in motion. When Wilson arrived at the building after the killing, he cried, answered questions, and presented himself as a grieving son. He also appeared publicly at her funeral, continuing to present himself as a grieving son.
His deep sadness over the death of Hadia Pendleton was evident as hundreds gathered outside the Greater Harvest Baptist Church. WGN's Randy Bellosomo has that story.
The crowd began to form hours before services were scheduled to start. A solemn air settled upon South State as the casket of 15-year-old Hadia Pendleton arrived. Hers wasn't a life that was to turn out this way. She was a cut above the street violence that has plagued our city. Kwame Wilson lost his mother to gun violence on November 14th.
My mother, she was a neighborhood woman. A guy entered her home, and her, just to steal.
Many parents here say this time it feels like it was one of their own.
In front of a news camera, Wilson described the killing as a robbery and cast himself as a grieving son. He also appeared at Stop the Violence rallies and gave interviews about street violence in Chicago, even as his mother's money funded the image. The performance was extraordinary in its audacity, and it continued right up until the moment the investigation caught up with him.
You're only as clean as you want to be. Get the motherfucking day started. Luxury car, selfie blunt, temperature just right so you comfortable. Music low, not that loud. $1,300 leather on the leather. Sunroof, extra light, and some bands. This what's wrong with me.
He customized the Mustang Yolanda had given him, bought designer clothes and jewelry, filmed himself fanning stacks of cash, and later collected her life insurance payout, turning the money into the lifestyle he had always wanted, entirely funded by the woman he had just had murdered.
You feel me, man? I don't play no games. You feel me? I don't play no games, man. I do this for real, bro. I don't got no problem with giving back, man. I'm the only one out here with a show that's actually giving back, you feel me?
Giving back. That is how he described spending his dead mother's money on himself in front of a camera. The same woman who had run back to school drives and given to her community her entire life. Her money was now being thrown at strangers by the son who had arranged her death, and he was calling it generosity. The investigation stalled for over a year. The initial focus fell on Curtis Wyatt, the boyfriend who had survived the attack. He was injured, there was blood everywhere, and detectives watched him closely while the actual perpetrators moved freely. But the evidence never pointed at Wyatt. What eventually broke the case open was Yolanda's phone records, specifically the discovery that she had a second phone, and that someone had been on that number in the moments before, during, and after her murder. That someone was her son. As investigators dug deeper, the case tightened quickly. Phone records linked Wilson and Spencer before and after the killing. Surveillance placed Spencer at the building, and DNA evidence tied him to the scene. Once both men were questioned separately, their stories began to unravel. Spencer changed his account multiple times before ultimately admitting the truth that Wilson had sent him, given him the weapon, provided the access code, and promised him payment.
I ain't gonna say I knew him, but I was like, you know who Chris the Cornbread is, right? Mm-hmm. Like Baba's again, Cornbread. Yeah. Him and Chris was on the Reawakening, and the dude, his mama was too. But Chris went and did it. He did his own show, and that's what I was on. It was called All About Chris, and he had a nigga around, and when he was coming around, he was like, flashy gang, like with the cars that with the doors up and shit, like. And yeah, like he was, like you could tell he had some bread, so I was low key like motivated and wanted to hang around them niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted their age. But yeah, I felt like I had to touch on the situation because like damn, bro, like I was around, not knowing like that's how he got his money, like, and I wanted to like be around him. Like now I'm glad I wasn't around him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
Wilson was arrested on December 24th, 2013. He had told detectives after his arrest that he had set up what he described as a robbery, not a killing, for financial gain. That statement would later be used against him at trial. Loriana Johnson, who had provided the gun and driven the getaway car, eventually cooperated with prosecutors in exchange for a plea deal. Her testimony, combined with the phone records, the surveillance footage, the DNA evidence, and Wilson's own post-murder YouTube videos, gave the prosecution one of the most complete cases Cook County had seen in years. In March 2019, separate juries convicted both Wilson and Spencer of first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and home invasion. Wilson was convicted on an accountability theory. He had organized, directed, funded, and guided the murder, even though he was not the person who pulled the trigger. The jury deliberated and returned guilty verdicts on every count. Johnson, who cooperated, served approximately 7 years and was released on parole. Sentencing took place on January 31, 2020. Cook County Judge Stanley Sachs sentenced Wilson to 99 years, 45 years for the murder, plus consecutive terms for the attempted murder of Curtis Wyatt and the home invasion. Spencer received 100 years. Before the sentence was handed down, Judge Sachs addressed Wilson directly from the bench. After the judge finished, Wilson was given an opportunity to speak and had sat through the entire trial maintaining that he loved his mother. He had watched the YouTube videos of himself throwing her money get played for the jury. He had heard the phone records, the DNA testimony, and Johnson's account of the night she drove Spencer to commit the murder Wilson had arranged. And when Judge Sachs finished addressing him and the floor was his, he stood up and said,
When the judge asked QC, was it anything that he wanted to say, he stood up and addressed the court by saying this: I just want to say, nobody loved my mother more than me. She was all I had.
Nobody loved my mother more than I did. That was the statement of a man who had paid someone $3,500 to shoot and stab her in her sleep, then withdrew her savings within days and threw the money at strangers on camera. 7 words, offered to a courtroom full of people who had just spent weeks hearing exactly what he had done. Then he was taken away to begin serving 99 years.
That social media clout, it's a drug. I'm telling y'all. And young QC, he was a full-blown addict. But that lust for living a fast life, the luxurious life, that high-end life, it was about to come to an abrupt end. Because on December 24th, 2013, QC was arrested for the murder of his own mom. It wasn't hard to put together. Soon as she passed away, he liquidates all of her accounts, spends the majority of her money, and on top of that, they had the hitman too, Eugene Spencer, and he was gonna testify against QC. He was supposed to receive $3,500 for doing this, but he got $70. They also caught the getaway driver, a woman by the name of Lorianna Johnson, and on January 31st, 2020, QC was sentenced to 99 years in prison. The hitman, Eugene Spencer, he was sentenced to 100 years in prison, and Lorianna Johnson received 14 years.
Whatever rumors later followed him in prison, the documented fact is that he remains incarcerated for the murder-for-hire killing of his mother. A jail fight involving Wilson is documented, but the more extreme prison assault claims that later spread online remain unconfirmed by official records. The claim that Wilson was sexually assaulted and stabbed multiple times in a prison shower has been circulating in true crime YouTube and social media communities since around 2024, and it appears in several videos covering this case presented as an established fact.
It's the 14th of September 2015. Sergeant Contreras is interviewing an inmate involved in a 1010 on tier 3G. What's your name?
Kwame Wilson.
What's your ID number?
2013-12-24-144.
What happened on 3G?
I was standing by the phones, and then that guy, I don't know him. I don't know where he came from. I don't know who he is. He got off the table and took his shirt off. Unbuttoned his jumpsuit and stepped to me and just got in like fighting position. I thought he was playing. I didn't know if he was for real or what. I don't know him. I never seen him before. And then he got real close. And then he swung, and then the fight occurred. And then the guy tried to stop it. The other guy tried to stop it. And then it stopped. And then I was looking away. Then next thing I know, when I turned around, he came back up again and tried to swing on me again. And then I just held him until y'all came. And then that's it.
14th September 2015. Sergeant Contreras interviewing an inmate involved in a 1010 on tier 3G. What's your name?
Mark Williams.
What's your ID number?
2015-02-20187.
What happened upstairs on 3G?
Had an altercation with a young man. Stepped to me, asked me did I want to fight him. I approached him with my fist. We continued to fight, and another guy came in behind me. Other than that, I don't know what happened.
Is that it?
A documented jail fight exists, but the more extreme prison assault rumors remain unconfirmed. Official Illinois corrections records show Wilson is alive and still incarcerated in Illinois. His projected parole date is November 20th, 2058. He will be 68 years old if that date ever arrives. What is confirmed is that he is alive, that he is serving a sentence that will almost certainly consume the rest of his natural life, and that whatever did or did not happen to him inside those walls, he is not coming home. Corrections records also note that Wilson has Yolanda Holmes' name tattooed on his body, adding one final layer of irony to the case. Tattooed on his body while he sits in a cell serving 99 years for her murder. For all the internet attention around Wilson, the real center of this story is Yolanda Holmes, a woman who built a life, raised a child alone, and was betrayed by the person she trusted most. Yolanda was a 45-year-old woman who built a business from nothing, raised a child alone after his father was sentenced to life in prison, kept that child away from the streets that had defined his father's fate, and loved him with a generosity most people never receive in their lives. She did not die because she made a mistake. Her death was not a random mistake or a matter of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It was the result of a decision made by her own son. And years later, that same son stood in court and claimed nobody loved her more than he did. Judge Sachs called it what it was from the bench: matricide, a betrayal so complete that ordinary language barely seems enough. A mother gives a child life, and the child chooses to take that life away. That is what happened to Yolanda Holmes on September 2nd, 2012, in her own apartment while she slept. And the man who arranged it stood in a courtroom 8 years later and told the world that nobody loved her more than he did. Even before the case caught up with him, Wilson was posting self-produced content that now reads very differently in hindsight.
Why you let Icy get you into this, Joe?
You mean the what? What'd he do?
Don't sit here with this straight face and lie to me, boy. Where he at?
I don't know, man.
Come, you ain't in a situation to be lying right now. Where Icy at, boy?
Man, I don't know, man.
You know he killed Flip. Where he at?
I wasn't with them, man. That was Icy, man.
You love your life, Joe?
I'm telling you, that wasn't me, man. I wasn't with them.
Pookie, what made you want to join Icy to go against me? What part of me in your ass makes me look weak? Huh, Pookie?
You ain't got no weakness, man. You ain't got no weakness.
I have to, Pookie. It gotta be something. It gotta be something that give you the confidence to make you think that you can defeat me. What is it, Pookie?
You ain't got no weakness, man. Man, Nick, man. Flip was trying to with you.
What? Flip was trying to with me. That's my homie. That was my best friend. I don't care if I his mother. He would never try to give me a bullet. He'll take a bullet for me, not trying to give me one.
Nick, why you doing this? What this got to do with me?
Icy know the rules to the game. He know when it's wartime, everything he loves becomes valuable. And you in the wrong place at the wrong time.
You know what, Nick? You a bitch.
I'm a bitch? Oh yeah, let's see how you feel in this cold water. How that feel? How that feel? Anyone that move, you shoot him, chill. Don't touch him. Don't touch him. Faggot. Shut up. I'm a bitch, right? Huh? You looking like some damn turtles. Shut up. Yeah, how that feel? Look at you. Finding Nemo ass. Don't touch it. Shut up.
He wrote those lines, performed them on camera, and posted them publicly, while the money from Yolanda Holmes' accounts was still being spent, while investigators were still building the case. At the same time, his mother's salon sat empty in Uptown. In hindsight, those self-produced videos became part of the disturbing public image surrounding the case. What stands out to you most in this case? The betrayal, the public performance after the murder, or the way the evidence unraveled it? Let me know in the comments, and if you want another case where image and reality collided, the next video is on your screen.